it's the threat of if you miss over the middle, he's going to hit it out, and so it's just gets maybe people a little tentative about how to pitch to a guy when he's got that power threat. So we try to design the lineup so you have maybe different. You got a guy like Blake Wright that super aggressive hitting in the 3-hole, but he's sandwiched between maybe a couple of guys who are a little more patient and see more pitches, and then a guy like Corbett, super aggressive, early swinger, with a guy like Chad Ferry who goes deeper into counts. So it's just trying to be a little bit pretty thoughtful and intentful of constructing a lineup. And tomorrow's will be different than today. We'll have a couple more new guys in there too. But we feel like, again, we've got depth, just like we have depth on the mound, we have depth in the position player group as well. And so, that's going to be a challenge for us, is getting all these guys the reps that they need. But, it's great to turn them loose and let them see them run and see them swing and play as fundamentally sound as they did tonight, with the explosiveness as well.
You told us the other day that you didn't expect Cooper to be behind the plate every game, but had to feel good to see Jacob play the way he did.
Yeah, and he's been doing that all fall. Jacob's been a freshman who's not a freshman. He's more mature than a freshman. He's an older soul kind of kid, and it's more just getting him to talk more and assume that leadership role. And he got voted by his teammates as a rising leader in the underclass, so I think he knows he's kind of needs to step into that vocal role more, especially with the position he plays. But the ability, from an ability standpoint, there was never a question about that. He's made a lot of strides with his receiving, and that's a position where we prioritize receiving over everything because it happens the most. But to see him get his first collegiate hit as a home run, as a reward for a kid who works extremely hard. He was also voted a rising. Well, he was. Yeah, like I said, he's voted rising leader because of his work ethic, and have the guys rank who they think or vote who they think are the hardest workers on the team in certain areas, and so he's always a guy that people point to when they talk about him as a guy who works extremely hard. So it's great to see guys get rewarded that work hard.
As for Ryan, obviously, the guy who used to be a closer, moving him into the starting role, is he has gone pitch count, or do you have to lengthen him out, or where is he in terms of how many innings he can go?
He was on 80 pitches tonight, and we just felt like 5 innings was good. He didn't get to 80 pitches, but that was his limit tonight, and 5 innings just kind of felt right. Didn't feel the need to extend them at where the game was at that point. But yeah, he can build up, But you're right, he hasn't started since high school, so we'll have to be pretty thoughtful in how we progress him and do so gradually. He's not gonna throw 100 pitches next weekend. But it's great seeing him out there because he's such a competitor, and it means so much to him to wear Clemson on his chest, and he talks about that, just being from Easley and lifelong Clemson fan, and it's just his care level is so high. So to see him transition to a starter role and take it in stride, saying whatever's best for the team, those are the foxhole guys that you just go to war with any day, and it's easy to cheer for those guys.
How did you think he handled that third inning when he got in a little bit of a hole, but how he handled it there at the end?
We knew he would find a way out of it. He doesn't seem to be a kid that gets rattled, and even if he gave up a run, we knew he would respond. And it was only that one inning where he actually even allowed base runners. So the 4 out of 5 innings to have 1, 2, 3s. Pretty awesome response, and kind of what we expected, just because he's a guy that in the fall, his worst inning in the fall a few times was the first one, just because he was learning the starter role, and it was he's used to, hey, go get ready in 5 minutes, and now he's got 50 minutes, and so it was just more of learning that routine. But as he's learned it and as he's settled in, we found that he gets better as the innings go on. So, it's college baseball, it's metal bats, it's, hitterish type days like today. There's good players and, people are going to score runs, but he's not a guy that's seems like he's going to be rattled or phased, and if he gets knocked down, he'll get right back up, because that's the type of kid he is.
The three freshmen who started today, just what did those guys do to earn those roles, and how feel with it to see them have the meetings and says that each had a hit and RBI?
Yeah, that was great. Cam Canarella inserted himself into the lineup from the start, from the jump, from day one. He just has a knack for putting the bat on the ball. He's kind of like Cooper Ingle in that regard, just elite hand-eye skill and bat-to-ball skill, and makes very good plate decisions for a young kid. It's one guy that Coach Bellinger said, everyone on our staff, it's tough to pitch to him, just because it's hard to find holes to attack. He can cover the whole plate. There's not many guys who can truly cover all 17 inches, and he's got the ability to put the barrel on the ball, and he's another kid that always seems to stay centered. He always gets back to neutral, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and so he's we felt really good about him. What was different is moving him to the outfield, and that was a result of Will Taylor still coming back from the knee, and we had a collision in the outfield. We had Corbett sprained his ankle, so we had, in the course of like a week, we had 3 outfielders out, and this was like 2 weeks ago, and we just said, hey, Cam, go out there and take fly balls, and he's such an athlete. That's what he is. He's an athlete out there, and actually gets incredible jumps and reads on balls, so it's probably going to be hard to pull him out of center field. But yeah, he's a guy, and then Jack Crichton, that was probably a byproduct of, we knew he was doing very well offensively with all the metrics that we keep regarding plate decisions and quality contact and consistent contact. He was in the top 9 in the leaderboards and a lot of the things that we measure and value. So we knew we had to get him at bats, but I don't know if we anticipated an opening day start. So to see him put some good at bats together today was really cool. And Nate Hall's another guy he's another freshman that's going to be in there, and Leighton Lackey. We've got some good freshmen on this team for sure. But to see Jacob Jarrell get his first collegiate hit as a home run, that's for a kid that works as hard as he does, and really cool stuff.
What is it about Bryant's stuff that allows them to have such a high strikeout rate?
It's 3 pitches that have completely different movement profiles. So it's a fastball that has what's called induced vertical break, so it fights gravity really well, so a hitter swings in a spot, but the ball doesn't drop like the hitter is trained to think it's going to drop. It just kind of stays on that plane. He's got a slider that obviously goes to the side and drops a little bit, but then a split finger that drops, and he throws all of them with full effort. It's not like he slows his arm or delivery or anything on any of his pitches, and throws all 3 of them for strikes. So it's tough when you're facing a guy like that that's a strike thrower that's got 3 pitches that all can get swing and miss in the strike zone and out of the strike zone. And then you combine the character traits of that kid and what's in his heart and his chest, and the toughness that guy has. That's the type of tone setter we want at the beginning of the weekend. Not finish. We'd love to have him in all the roles, but we just felt like he was most valuable setting the tone on the front end of the weekend.
You pinch ran for Taylor there in the 8th. I'm guessing that had more to do with easing Taylor back and not looking for the stolen base record.
oh yeah, I was yelling at him to stay at first. But he saw that ball go down the line, and he hit it hard, so he knew it was a double and jogged into second. But I had no idea what the stolen base record was until Hennessy told me at the end of the game. I said, why didn't you tell me sooner? We would have tried to steal a couple more. No, we didn't set out to break any stolen base records. It was just we saw as the game went on, that was an opportunity. We were trying to get a big lead to see a pickoff move. We didn't see any pickoff moves, so we started running, and catcher, couple of tough throws for him, and we were able to just capitalize on it, so we kept going to it, and it's one of those, one of those things where it's like in football, when you run a play and it works, and you run it again and it works, you just keep running it till it doesn't work, and that's kind of what we did.
Austin Gordon making his first start tomorrow. Didn't play a whole lot early as a freshman last year, but what have you seen from him that earned a starting spot on the Saturday?
Consistent growth and improvement. He's a guy that, he's getting stronger, he's putting on weight, he's developing his stuff, he's always had good command, he's a freakish athlete. I mean, he's one of our best infielders along with one of our best pitchers. Just a tremendous athlete all the way around. So just the mind-body connection, being able to do things, multi-sport, just one of those guys. If we were all playing pickup basketball, he'd be doing 360 dunks, and he's just blessed. He's touched by God. You're going to be a super athlete, and that's what he is. And so for him, some of these athletic movements come a little bit easier, and now he's starting to blossom and fill out, and his stuff is really good, and I'm sure it's his first start, but he's got his whole team behind him, and he sees the defense that we have behind him, and so I know he'll have a lot of confidence and trust in them.
Anything else for Coach?
He said the pitching staff would walk. Had to roll with that.
What's that?
Just allowing one walk as a pitching staff, just I'm guessing that was very.
Yeah, Coach Bellinger, every message he sends on our group me or team accounts,